Everyone, welcome to the call. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. Wow, it's great to see everyone. Happy Friday. I know everyone's excited that we had our Thanksgiving break. Hi, Callista. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are
Good.
you?
Good. I wanted to just welcome everyone and thank you all for signing up and attending. We have a great panel here. My name is Coach T. I'm Coach Teresa, but Coach T is the easiest thing to remember. That's how I get popular. I just shorten my name and kids just remember Coach T. But I do want to thank everyone for joining us. I hope you have a lot of questions prepared and available. We have a ton of questions for our scholars, but this call is for you. So I want you to grab some questions, put them together, make sure that you're asking questions because we may not have the same questions you have because we've all kind of experienced different levels of golf and college activity. So this is your best audience for questions that you can ask them. They've been through the experience. They've been through our program. They play golf. So I just want to make sure that you have the opportunity to do that. I see we have some staff members here. We have Jen with SCGA Junior. And then we also have Haley. And Nicole. I just wanted to introduce them and have them wave and say hello just because they're very instrumental in making a lot of things happen for us. A lot of things happen more importantly for you. So remember those names. I kind of mentioned them. If you all have anything you want to say, feel free to jump in and say hello or any comments or anything you want to tell us. I just want to give you the opportunity now.
I'll just share that I'm excited to participate tonight, and I'll further emphasize that our scholar panel, they're awesome. You guys are going to learn so much from this group. I'm really excited to hear from them, and it's great to see all of them. They've all been in college this past semester and not playing golf, unfortunately, but look forward to hearing about each of their journeys.
Awesome. So Lauren, I just wanted to kind of turn everything over to you. Definitely want to make sure we get started and stay on time and with our hard stop time with it being a Friday and a weekend ahead of us. We want to make sure we stay conscious of our time that we have set out and certainly respect your time as well with your family.
Yes, definitely. So thank you all for coming. Really appreciate you being here on a Friday night. To start off, we just want to introduce our panel. So if everybody who's on the panel could go around, just share your name, what college you attended or are currently attended, the high school you went to, and when you started playing golf.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Gonzalez. I am a recent college graduate, and I went to Texas A&M International University. I went to Santa Fe High School a few years ago, and I started playing when I was 7 years old.
Hi, guys. My name is Dana Bryant, and I'm currently a third year at UC Santa Cruz. I went to Valley Christian High School in Cerritos, and I started playing golf when I was about 10 years old.
Hi everyone, I'm Callista. I currently am a third year at Stanford. I went to Rancho Bernardo High School and I started playing golf when I was 7 as well.
Hi, I'm Juliet. I go to Occidental. I'm a second year, and I went to Millikan High School in Long Beach, and I also started playing golf when I was 7.
Hi everyone, I'm Jakisha. I went to UC Riverside and I just graduated in 2019. And then I went to Mater Dei High School, and I also started at lucky number 7, like these last two.
Hi everyone, I'm Natalie. I am a third year at Whittier College. I also went to Santa Fe High School and I started playing golf when I was 5 years old.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Certainly
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Yeah. So if you, for everyone who is here, if you guys have any questions for any specific panelist or just for any panelist, just put it in the chat box so that we can get to them. All of our panelists are here to help you out and they have lots of great information. So make sure to get your questions in the chat box if you have any. And Coach T, I'll pass it along to you.
Thank you. All right. So the first question we have this evening, Coach Stephanie, when did you know you were going to play college golf?
I think it was towards the end of freshman year in high school when I realized I love competing on a team rather than just, well, obviously we all know golf is like an individual sport. So from 7 to before high school is all individual. So I got on the team at high school and I was like, oh my God, this is super fun. Like I enjoy having teammates for once. And that's when I was like, hey, mom and dad, like, I think I want to play college golf. I know there's scholarships out there and I think it'll help us financially. And so that's when I kind of started looking into the recruiting process and then kind of took off sophomore year.
So for me, I think I wanted to play college golf, especially in high school. But during my junior year, I think I wasn't really sure if I was going to play. Wasn't until like senior year when I started applying to colleges and just like seeing what my options were that I really narrowed it down to see that I could play at UC Santa Cruz.
For me, I started competing. I started competing in tournaments when I was around 8, and I think from then, especially since I like really enjoyed like competing, and I hadn't really gotten the team experience yet, but I knew that I enjoyed it so much that I did want to do it in the next level. So I think from when the age of 10, I think I started thinking about, oh, maybe I do want to play college golf. And that was just always in the back of my mind. And in every competition, I'd always think about that. And I just set that as a goal early on, especially since I knew that I loved playing and I loved competing. So that was always something that I kept in the back of my mind.
For me, I just didn't feel like I was done playing. I just wasn't ready to end the story. So I wanted to play, I knew probably sophomore year in high school. And then I realized most of my friends, my long-term friends, I met through golf. So I wanted to continue that connection and have a college team.
For me, I kind of got a late start with competing in high school. But I like once I started competing in like tournaments and stuff, I kind of felt like I wanted to do more of this. And college golf was something that was an interest, like because I knew that I would be able to compete. So I would say like sophomore year.
So for me, I was very indecisive in deciding whether I wanted to play or not. So I think it was after sophomore year of high school, um, I was deciding that I wasn't playing golf anymore for high school, but then a couple of the coaches like reached out to me that were in the league of of my high school, and they were like, no, you should just continue playing. So then I played junior year. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm done. So it was just a lot of like back and forth of like, no, I should just keep going. So like Dana, during my senior year, when I started applying, I was looking at local schools just to see if I had that opportunity to play at a school that wasn't too far, just in case I decided to change my mind at the last second.
Thanks for sharing. I hear like common themes there. And since we just talked about like when you knew you were going to play college golf, next, can you talk about when did you start reaching out to coaches and like officially beginning the recruitment process? And maybe what was the first step that you took?
So for me, my family and I, like, we were just like, okay, what is the next step? Like, we know she wants to play. What happens now? So we actually looked into this program called NCSA. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's kind of like this recruiting program where you go, you have to pay some money, but you create your account, you type in your name, contact information, you can upload videos, pictures, like pretty much anything coaches need or want to see. And then it's kind of cool because it did the hard work for me and I just click send and then it would kind of just spread out on the internet and coaches from all around the United States could see my profile. And that's when the exciting part happened, when coaches started reaching out to me and I was like getting emails. I would literally come home from school every day and be like, oh my God, I got another coach email. So yeah, that's one way you could definitely do it. I know others just did direct email to some coaches. I'm sure you can find emails online, but that program really helped me. And it's actually the reason why I went to the school that I went to, because I had no idea where it was. The coach emailed me. She was like, hey, we can provide a visit for you and your dad to come visit. Like, you know, we have a good scholarship for you. And bada bing, bada boom. That's where I stayed for 4.5 years. So yeah, that was my beginning of the recruitment process.
So my process started senior year after I like decided that I wanted to play in college. I did a kind of risky move. I only applied to 3 colleges. 2 of those had golf teams. So it was Cal State Monterey Bay and then UC Santa Cruz. So actually on a visit to Cal State Monterey Bay, I ran into the golf coach and I just talked to him, told him that I was interested in playing. And he kind of told me the next steps that I needed to take if I was interested and what my chances look like. And then for UC Santa Cruz, I reached out by email to my coach and she was really nice and emailed me back and just told me the next steps as well. So from then on, it was just up to me to decide where I wanted to go after that.
So for me, my first step that I took was summer before freshman year of high school. My parents and I sat down. I looked at a list of like 100 different colleges and ranked them like my top 10. And from those top 10, I found like the emails of the coaches, like Stephanie said, and I like listed them down and I drafted kind of like an introduction email about myself, about what tournaments I've played, like highlights of tournaments that I've played in the past, what my plans are for the future. And like from this introduction email, freshman year, I sent a lot of just cold emails to coaches just to introduce myself and kind of put them on their radar. And because of a lot of like NCAA rules, they didn't really respond, but I did get a few questionnaires back. So then at least I was kind of in their system, if that's what you could, yeah. I was just kind of in their system where they could just keep track of what tournaments I was playing and I just constantly updated them. So I would say freshman year I started and that was just more of just getting in my mind like, oh, where would I want to go ideally? And like what schools would I be interested in? Kind of just planning that out.
I started the summer before my junior year. I did a lot of tours and I kind of knew I always wanted to go to Occidental in the back of my head. And I just mainly went on whatever the SCGA provided to me, whether it was like a college class or a tour. And I did the same thing Callista did. I wrote out the emails and an introductory email and basically just updated them every 2 weeks on the smallest little things and kept in the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you said that, Juliet, how you just kept updating the coaches along the way. I think that's really important. So for me, I started kind of late again, in junior in high school was when I first started reaching out, sending those emails, calling the coaches and getting that conversation going back and forth. And also just like sending them swing videos and like scoring averages through emails. So yeah, junior year in high school.
So I also started junior year in high school and I also use NCSA just like Stephanie. And it was just a really good platform because your profile, you can send it to local schools, but then also like it's available to the East Coast. Like any school can see no matter what the division. And it's also nice because it shows you when they open your emails. So I was in contact with the golf coach at Whittier, a couple in Arizona, and some East Coast schools. And I was able to see that when they opened it. So I was like, oh, okay, like they see my name, they see my tournament scores I'm sending them. And I think it also shows you when they watch your swing video. So like it's very interactive. So I think that's a really good website to look into.
I just have one quick follow-up for Kalista. Do you think it was hard to continue to coaches' emails even though they weren't responding?
Yeah, I think it was hard at first because then it's kind of like you're talking to a brick wall and you're not sure if they're actually like looking at your email, you're not sure if they're listening. But I think after playing a few events, I saw some of them followed me, which was cool because I like sent the schedule of like local events, even like CIF tournaments that I was playing. And some of the coaches actually followed me, and that was kind of a boost of confidence. Like, oh, they're actually reading my email. So I wouldn't say give up on that, especially since it's just NCAA regulations. It's not like they're trying to be rude or anything. I think you just have to keep that in mind. Just keep not pestering them, but just keep sure that you keep yourself like on their mind in some way, or
Yeah.
else they might forget.
All right. Thank you.
So I wanted to ask the question because I know one of the things that we all think about is the recruiting process. And I wanted to ask what was the most intimidating part about the recruiting process? And then how did you overcome that?
Oh, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, the whole process was a little intimidating because you're like, oh my goodness, like this is my next big step. Like it's a big like next page in your book for your future. One thing that always really freaked me out is when coaches would email me and say like, hey, thank you, Stephanie. Like I see you have a tournament this coming Saturday. I'll be out there watching you. And it'd be like, oh my goodness. Like I was so used to my parents watching me and like it was just my parents, but I was like, this coach is gonna come watch me. And I literally wouldn't sleep the night before. I'd be like, what if I triple bogey? Or like, what if I start crying? And I kind of became like a hot mess at the beginning, but I was like, you know what, Steph, like you just gotta show him or her that you're a good player, gotta stay confident, let them know what kind of player that that I can possibly be for their team. So just keep that in mind. Like, even if you double or triple, like I'm sure they have had players who do the same thing, just bounce back with the par. And one thing that's very important that coaches watch for is your attitude on a course. I've heard a lot of coaches say like, hey, you know what, like I don't care that you got a 10, but I want to see how you react on the next tee box, or what is your demeanor when you're trying to bounce back from that. So just always keep your head up, believe in yourself, most importantly, and it's all just part of the process. And I actually directly messaged one of the girls on here and I said, it's going to be a long process, but it's totally worth it if you find your school at the end. So just keep on pushing through and hopefully you find the dream school.
So I agree with Stephanie. The whole process is a little intimidating at first because it is like setting yourself up for the next step in your life. But I would say the hardest part for me was also reaching out to my coach. And then at the end of the day, you do have to get accepted into the school first. So I think I was just very nervous until I got my application letter or acceptance letter from the school. And then after that, like a big weight was lifted off of my shoulders. So I think just like making sure everything was set to actually get accepted into the school and then move forward from there.
Yeah, I think for me, not only was having the coaches, like Stephanie, having the coaches watch you during tournaments was pretty nerve-wracking. I think you got used to it after some point, but it's always like that question of like, oh, if I didn't perform well, what are they gonna think? But I think looking back now, they really don't care about what score you shot that day. They're more looking at how you handle yourself on the course and how you maneuver your way around the course, because that's the reason why they watch you. They can always just look at your scorecard online, if they just wanted to look at the score. So it's always just based off of how you're handling yourself, your attitude towards it. And then another part that was a little nerve-wracking was just being patient with the whole process. It's a long process, especially like no matter when you start the process, you're always waiting for a response or just waiting for if they're recruiting someone else, and you're competing against other girls too. But I think just being patient and just knowing yourself and like what you want to gain out of like the college experience, I think that helps a lot, knowing that ahead of time so that you know what you're going to be putting your efforts towards.
For me, it was actually keeping up with the amount of like competitive tournaments that a lot of other girls play, because I didn't necessarily want to play in that many competitive like AJGA. I wanted to stick with LA County and SCGA Junior. So I knew that going into it, I wanted to play D3. So that was really scary, just knowing that if I didn't commit to like any bigger tournaments, maybe I wouldn't get accepted, but I don't think that's the case at all. I think if you just perform at whatever tournament you sign up for and carry yourself well, you'll definitely do okay. And I think since we're all golfers and we're trying to get into college, that we're starting the college process way earlier than every other high school student, and we know what we want, so it's less stressful in the long run.
I think what the most intimidating part of the recruitment process was like making that first step to talk to the coaches and making that first visit. I think that's always like the big thing that you kind of like build that up to in your head. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to make such a good impression. But you have to remember, like, at the end of the day, like, you're also the one interviewing the school, you're also interviewing the coach, the team. So you have to make sure that that fit is right for you. It goes both ways. It's not just one way, like, you have to make that impression, but make sure that the school is like really like aligns with what you want, aligns with what you're looking for, your major, your interests, and if you like fit well with the coach and the team.
So I agree with everyone, and like the most intimidating part would be that first email to the coach and then obviously visiting. So I remember my visit to Whittier, I was so scared in the car, but they're just there to like make you feel comfortable, and like Jakisha said, like they want to get to know you personally and you want to get to know the coach as well so that you build like that nice connection. And I think also during the process, it's kind of overwhelming when you're seeing like this whole map of schools that you can possibly go to, and you have like to pick one, and you want to make sure like that's the right choice. It's just like just seeing the list like at the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, do I want to stay in California? Do I want to go out of state? It's just so many options, but you just have to keep reaching out and just see what interests you and what would be the perfect fit for you.
All right, next, can you talk a little bit about your high school golf experience? Maybe scoring average, and I know some played a lot of 9-hole competitions, but high school experience, scoring average, and maybe some other tournaments you were involved in.
So for me, it was a little different. We actually didn't have a girls' team at my high school, so I played on the boys' team all 4 years. And yes, it was very scary. I almost did not even play at all because I was like, I don't want to be like playing with boys. Like, this is kind of weird. But honestly, like, I think it was like the best thing that ever happened to me because one, I didn't like losing to the boys. And so two, it helped me kind of or drive me to do better. So at practice, like I would be like, okay, like I want to beat this guy the next time, or I want to do better and beat my teammate. Like we'd always have little competitions at practice. And as bad as this sounds, like it was always like a little fun to watch the boys get like, oh my God, like this girl's beating me. So yeah, that was one thing that I, well, don't wish upon other people, but one thing it was a big drive for me, and I think that's very important in high school, is that you get the determination and the power to practice as best as you can. So for me, it was beating the guys. For our high school matches, we would only play 9 holes. And I would say I was probably averaging like 3 to 5 over. And then tournaments outside of high school for 18 holes, I was probably averaging like between like a 76 to about an 80. So, I mean, there was always better players than me, but like I said, it was just something to be able to push me to be like, okay, like this person beat me this tournament. Well, next time, like I need to focus on my putting because I want to beat her next time. So just something to keep in mind. And like I said, I wasn't the best golfer within my age division or anything like that, but you just have to find those little motivation markers to say like, okay, even though I know I can do better, like let's see what this next tournament entails and just keep working hard.
So for my freshman year of high school, I actually didn't have a golf team at my school. So I ended up transferring to another school my sophomore year. So that was when I started playing on the girls golf team there. And I just had a great time my 3 years there. We would have practice about 4 days a week during the fall season. And then we would have about 2 matches a week, I think. And they were 9-hole matches. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun to play with the girls on the team and playing against different schools. I'd say my junior year, I kind of went through a rough patch, like in my scoring. I wasn't playing as well as I thought I would, how things normally go. So, so yeah, my scoring wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but I think that goes with perseverance. Just keep practicing and just knowing that you can do it and turn your scores around. And so around senior year, it turned around for me. And that was when I decided I wanted to play golf in college.
For me, now I lost my train of thought. The question was about high school golf. Sorry.
Yeah, your scoring average in high school and other things that you played in.
Okay, cool. So for high school, I played all 4 years and I loved playing on the team. It's always great to be able to get the experience to play for something like more than just for yourself. And I think that's what the high school experience gets you into. And then that's what college will get you into as well. I think it not only like gives you this extra, it's almost like an extra pressure, but it's also an extra motivation for you to like play well because you're playing for your team and you want your team to win and you want to do well for your team. And so it's always a great feeling when you do that, but it's also something to keep in mind in the back of your head. But for me, our high school league also played just 9-hole matches during the year until like CIFs, regionals, and the CIF state. But for the 9-hole matches, I averaged 2 to 3 under par. And then my average for the 18 holes were like ranging between 3 under to 1 over par. And then I played a lot of tournaments outside of high school as well during that time. So I played a lot of SCPGA tournaments like Toyota Tour Cup, a lot of local tournaments in San Diego through the SCGA. And then I also played AJGA events as well. So I got a good mix of different tournaments and different leagues, but I highly suggest those who are, since you all are in Southern California, play local events, play the Toyota Tour Cup if possible, play SUPGA local junior events. Those are created for us to use, and coaches look at that too. So.
So my freshman year in high school, my average was about like 46 or 47. So that tells you you don't have to be like in the low 40s to even make varsity, because I started on varsity my freshman year, and then by my senior year, my average was 41, I think is what my coach told me. but I usually played in an extra tournament. Oh, it was 9 holes only also. And I played in one extra tournament, I said a month, and it was usually an SCGA Junior Tour tournament, and I made sure I played in that extra one to send to a coach.
So in high school, I played all 4 years on the team, and we would play like 2 to 3 9-hole matches every week, along with like an 18-hole tournament here and there. But I thought that was so much fun, like just hopping in the team van, leaving school early, and then getting in and out after the matches. That's what I remember the most. So I think my scoring average was maybe like 38, 39 for the 9 holes, and for the 18 holes, it started getting lower towards like my junior and senior year. So like 73 to like 76. And on top of this, like I would compete in the summer in like USGA qualifiers, the local qualifiers like SoCal juniors, and that's what coaches really want to see. They want to see that 18, 36, 54 hole like rounds. Just because that like correlates the most to like what you would be playing in college.
So my freshman year of high school, I was also on the boys varsity team, and my average for 9 holes was I think like a 50 or like a 52, but we played from the blue tees. And then that year was my first time ever playing a 18-hole tournament, and I shot 100. But by the time it was my senior year, and we were playing on the girls team from I think the red tees. So my average then was about like a 40 for 9 holes, and then like low 80s for 18 holes. So it was just like a really big transition from playing with the boys to the girls, and it's just really nice to make friends, like not only with your own school, but then seeing like the other kids from the other schools as well. And then you see them like in your city tournaments, like the LA County. I would see Juliet or Ami, and like it was just nice, like you're building a community through high school golf.
Teresa, you're muted.
Thank you. I want to tackle some of the questions that are in the chat, and we're going to kind of go back to the recruiting process and ask you, one of the questions is, what are the major steps leading up to that signing day? And then I'm going to throw in addition to that, did your high school or counselors or college coaches help you with that? So the major steps leading up to signing day, that's pretty exciting. That's a major event.
Yeah, so signing day is really cool. The leading steps, obviously, is how we talked at the beginning, is talking to the coaches and making sure like, hey, this is the school I want to come to. If you can, I highly recommend go visit the schools, because it might sound perfect on paper, but when you get there, you might be like, oh my gosh, like I cannot live here for the next 4 years. So I always tell everyone, if you can make the trip out to go visit your campus, go, go, go. And then the next thing, obviously, is if they provide scholarship money, got to talk that out with your coach to see, okay, I'm getting academic scholarship through the school, but how much are you giving me if I play on the golf team, all that money. And then I think that's all I can really remember. I just remember being very excited and being like, oh my gosh. And I actually signed, I think, the spring of my senior year, and my parents got me like balloons and everything. And when I went to go visit, I got a shirt from my campus. I was wearing my shirt and I was like ready to go. It was right before summer, and I was like, I'm ready to get out of here and go to Texas and start. So just honestly, just enjoy all of it, because it goes by super duper fast. And it feels like last week I was looking for my school, and now I'm 23 and a college graduate. So just enjoy it as much as you can, and honestly take lots of pictures on your signing day, because it's fun to look back at. And just be very proud of yourself, because like we've said, it was a long process and you finally reached your goal. So congrats, and give yourself a pat on the back.
I definitely agree with Stephanie. It goes by so quickly. I remember after I reached out to my coach by email, she just told me to send her a swing video and then just keep my grades up and just keep working on my scoring average to get it lower. So I did that throughout the end of my senior year season. And then I think leading up to that, it was just also visiting the campus. I know some schools have like a virtual you can do. So I did that with my school. And then on my spring break, I went to visit. And I made sure that I got a sweatshirt so that I could like wear something to represent my school after I got accepted. And then, yeah, signing day at my school was a great time. And it just felt like all of your hard work like led up to that moment.
Yeah, I second what Stephanie said about visiting schools. So I visited a lot of schools prior to kind of narrowing down like who I would potentially commit to. And that just gives you a good perspective of how big the school you want to be, walking down like the campus and seeing how many students there'd be. It kind of puts into perspective, oh, would I be seeing the same people over and over again? Or would I be meeting a new person every day? I think those are two things to ask yourself. Which would you prefer, a big or smaller campus? And then I think one NCAA rule is that for when I was recruiting, September 1st of my sophomore year, that's when college coaches could officially like contact me directly. And that was a really exciting time for me because I got a few emails then and a few phone calls where like I could actually officially talk to them without any like limitations that there were before. So I started really doing like a thorough like recruiting process then. And then I committed to Stanford a little later than most people. I committed November of my junior year. So that's when I committed to Stanford. And I had done a few visits on campus, specifically at Stanford. And my coach made sure that I met the team, went to sat into a few classes when possible. And then I also toured like the facility to see just what like the environment I would be living in if I did want to go there. And after that, Stanford required us to do the application process like a normal, like a regular student application process. So I went through that before I could commit and sign to the school. So that was the biggest thing, making sure that I got admitted to the school first before I could celebrate with signing. But yeah, it went really fast, and I tried to enjoy every minute of it. But now I kind of miss that part of the recruiting process.
Yeah, so I just mainly wanted to stay home, stay close to home. I wanted to stay in Southern California. I wanted to play D3. So I talked to most of the schools in SCIAC actually, and I narrowed it down to Redlands and Occidental by about September of my senior year. And I toured Redlands. It's actually a really funny story. And I ate food there from their like their common dining hall, and I couldn't eat it. I didn't like it. So I was like, I don't want to go to school here. And that's actually was the deal breaker between the two. I'm really glad that was the deal breaker because Oxy has great food. But I definitely recommend eating at the dining halls when you tour just to see if you like it. And I actually didn't have a signing day. I think that was at fault of my athletic department for not Oxy, my high school, for not like planning one, but I definitely recommend doing one if you have the option.
So I think the first thing would be to visit the school, like everyone said, meeting the coach and meeting the team, seeing the school, making sure you love it and love and you can really envision yourself being there for the next 4 years. And then during the school visit, you would generally talk about like the scholarship opportunities with the coach. There's a lot of different scholarships out there. It doesn't have to necessarily just be a sports scholarship. I'm gonna give a little plug to SCGA Junior. Yeah, because we also do scholarships. And that's a whole other process as well. Like you go through like an interview, you have to have an application. Jen was the one that was in charge of that. She's on the call right there, so shout out to Jen. And that's where I also met Lauren and Steph, and they're all SCGA junior scholars as well. So that's a really great opportunity right there for you guys that is like, you should definitely look into. And after that, you would probably like verbally commit with the coach and let the coach know like, okay, well, I'm committed to the school. And then signing day is when you seal the deal. So yeah.
So I agree with what everyone else said, and it's really important to just keep in contact with coaches. And even if you're still indecisive, like just have a list of possibles just in case, because there's always that op- um, option of like you not getting admitted into the school you really wanted to, because I actually got denied from like my backup school. So I was like, ooh. So luckily I had a bunch of other options. So aside from reaching out to the coaches, also try to get in contact with financial aid once you receive your package, just because they can always add on funds and scholarships to help you go to the school you really want to go to. And then signing day, my school had like a small little signing day because it was me and another senior that signed the same day. I think we were later than normal because I believe signing day is September or like fall, and we signed in the spring. So it was really small compared to, I believe they had a couple other ones in the fall. So, but it was nice. Like they had balloons and they took our photos and we got interviews. So it's just like a really big deal that you should be proud of.
All right, perfect. I'm going to go back to a question that somebody asked in the chat. It was, how often and how long did you practice, and what do you enjoy about golf? And I think the question is more specifically, how often and how long did you practice in high school? I know that's probably changed a lot since you've gotten to college. So think about high school.
One, I'll start. The reason why I loved golf was meeting so many people. Like Jakisha said, literally like all of like Lauren, Natalie is my little sister, so I knew her. But just everyone else that was on here as scholars, like we all kind of grew up playing high school golf together. So that was a cool experience. So I loved meeting people and just going and being given the opportunity to go play some really cool courses here in Southern California. For practice wise, in high school, we had about 2 to 3 matches a week. And then, so I'm sure every school was a little different, but for my high school, we would have a match on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we were practicing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for I think about I don't remember, it was so long ago. I think like almost 2 hours. And it would be about like an hour on the range. And then the other hour, we would do like putting drills, chipping drills, or the coach would work one-on-one. Or another practice that we would do is we just go out on the course and we'd have to play like alternate shot with one of our teammates, or our coach would be like, okay, you're playing 2 balls, but I want you to hit the ball that's in the worst position and see like what kind of score you get from there. So like I said, it just varies from school to school. I think once you get to college, it's definitely a lot more added onto your plate. But for high school, I would practice with my team, I guess 6 hours a week. And then we live pretty close to a golf course, and we'd also use our SCGA junior golf passes to go practice outside of that, probably like, oh gosh, I wish I can remember, it was so long ago. Maybe like 2 times a week. Like I go with my dad and my sister too. So like I said, just varies, and it's however much hard work you want to put in for that.
All right, I'm going to jump in here because we just got a bunch of questions in the chat. So we want to get to them all. So sorry to cut off that question, but Stephanie, that was a really good answer. So thank you so much. We're going to answer from Carrie, and I'm going to direct this to Juliet specifically. How do you feel about getting a late start? For example, starting playing golf when you're 13 or 14 years old?
I think you're in a perfect place. I think I didn't actually, gosh, I didn't start like solidifying my score until my junior year in high school. I was all over the place score wise until then. So I would say definitely don't get discouraged. Keep practicing golf. Talk to anyone, and everyone has a love-hate relationship with golf. There are days when we don't want to go practice because we aren't playing well, but we go practice. So golf is a beautiful thing. Keep at it. Golf in high school is also way more fun because even if you aren't playing well, your friends are there. So definitely for college golf, 13, 14 is a good age. Tournament wise, I didn't start playing in tournaments until I was 14. So you're in a perfect spot.
Thank you. Next question I'm going to ask for Dana. How did you know that you wanted to play golf for sure? Like you made the decision to play golf in college, since I know that's a very big decision and a large time commitment.
So I think for me, it was the SCGA prep course that helped me like prepare a lot for the whole college application process. Sorry, my cousin's crying in the back. But yeah, it was when I really like narrowed down my options and saw that I wanted to play Division 3, that was the best fit for me and what I wanted to do like with my career in the future. And just seeing that that was the perfect fit and that my scores like at the time aligned with the scoring averages with the girls currently on the college team. Just seeing that like everything matched and started to look good for me was when I thought that like I really had a chance to play there.
Thank you. And one question specifically for Callista. I know it's important. Well, a lot of coaches would prefer the actual player to be emailing. What are like your thoughts on this and parent involvement in the recruiting process?
Yeah, so I actually had like a personal story about this. I growing up, I used my mom's email just because it was just an easier transition. I didn't create my own. And my Stanford golf coach is like, "Oh, why are you using your mom's email? Is she the one writing your email?" So I think coaches would love the player to have their own initiative to write the emails. And even though I was writing the emails, also suggest that you guys have your own email to write them, because it really shows that you're the one involved. You're going to be the one communicating with them for 4 years. They want to get to know you and not your parents. So I really highly suggest you take that initiative to write the emails. It's a great learning experience for you to write a professional and formal email to someone. And yeah, I think I worked a lot on my writing skills through the process of emailing coaches, and it really helps you in the future, honestly.
Thank you. Question for anyone on the panel. I'm not sure if anyone has this experience, but did anyone play multiple sports in high school? So another sport in addition to golf? Growing up, maybe? Oh, Dana, go ahead.
Yeah, so I grew up playing a lot of sports, actually. It wasn't until I was around 10 years old that I decided that I wanted to try golf. But I also did track my freshman year, and then I played soccer my sophomore and junior years in high school. So it was my senior year when I like sacrificed playing another sport so that I could focus more on golf. So that my scores would be like better for playing in college.
Right, sorry, we're looking at all these questions coming in. There's a ton coming in. Teresa, do you see any in there?
Yes, there was one question, and I'm going to send this one over to Coach Natalie. Natalie, the question is regarding emails and how many you should send, and what grade did you start sending, and if you want to defer the question to someone else. But that was a most recent question that we got in the chat there.
So I started sending emails at the beginning of my junior year, and I would send like obviously the first short, nice introductory email with your name, like your average, and then just, hey, I have my swing video. Can you take a look at it? And then as the school year went by and like season picked up and I was playing more, I would just send probably one every 3 weeks to like the schools I was really interested in, just continuing the conversation and updating with like how I was doing and just trying to keep like in contact until they would reply. So it's just really important to not overload like with 20 at one time, but throughout like the school year, just be like, hey, it's me again. Like I just want to let you know I just dropped like 2 strokes. Like just continue that conversation.
All right, and I see another question here. I'll send this one to Jakisha. How did you prioritize other things like your school and other activities on top of having golf?
Keisha actually had to go to another meeting.
Oh, I missed her.
So
Oh,
that's
wow.
okay.
Sorry.
Yep, no worries. So we could direct that to Callista actually.
Thank you. Thank you. I missed it.
No, all good. Do you want us to repeat the question?
Oh, I think I got it. I
Okay.
can read it in the chat, but thank you. So prioritizing other things like school and other activities. So I typically practiced for 2 to 4 hours every day. So two additional hours from high school golf. So my dad and I would go out after the high school golf practice and just work individually on what I needed to work on personally to improve. And after that, I went straight home and took a shower, ate a quick dinner, and then I went straight to schoolwork. So oftentimes I would just work straight into the night until it was time for bed. So I didn't have as much time for outside like clubs and other activities in high school. And even in college, I didn't really don't have that much time for other clubs, but it's because I wanted to prioritize doing just academics and golf, just knowing that I wanted to have a balance of those two specifically. So it was really about time management with what I was able to do, especially at night, and just discipline to actually do work, not watch my Netflix. I knew that I did want to do that or hang out with friends that often. I had to sacrifice a little bit of that, especially in high school. But I think in the end, looking back, I think it paid off and I think it was worth the sacrifice. And it doesn't mean that you don't have time to have fun. It just means picking and choosing when is the correct time to do those things.
All right, I think we're running out of time here. So this can be our last question unless we get another one in. What is the biggest advice you would give to the girls attending today? And we'll go through the whole panel again.
So I will give you advice that I was given back when I was in my recruiting days. It was actually by an individual. His name is Ted Gleason. He is an amazing man. Like he is just awesome. So if you guys, I think Jen maybe hopefully can do like a little something with him in the future because he definitely changed my path coming into college. And all of us have this idea of like, oh man, like I remember growing up, I was like, I want to go to Stanford, like I want to go to UCLA, all these big schools. But unfortunately, I knew deep down I wasn't good enough for those schools. And it just was kind of like a bummer. And I was like, oh man, like if I'm not good enough to go play there, like where am I going to be good enough to go? And SCJ Jr. provided this event one time where he was a guest speaker. And he said, you know, even though some dreams have to kind of be broken down because you can't reach them, that doesn't mean there's not a school out there for you. Like you have to make sure you're going into a school that's going to work for you. You don't conform to the school that you want. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that makes a lot of sense. And that's when I was like, okay, you know what? D1 is not the route for me. And that's when I decided D2. And honestly, like it really opened my mind because now I was like excited for the recruitment process again. And I was like, okay, you know what? I can't play at Stanford, but that's okay. I'm going to go do a trailblaze somewhere else. And to this day, I always tell everyone that like, there's still a place for you to play, even though your number one spot is not available. So just keep looking. If you got to dig deep, that's totally okay. As long as you find the spot, because this school is going to be home for the next 4 years, and make sure it's a good fit for you. So that would be my biggest advice for everyone, and just always have fun with the recruitment process. And if you ever need help, we're all here. Jen Seislov is an amazing contact to have. She is like the ins and outs of college and everything. So if you ever need any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to her or any of us on the panel.
Yeah, so for me, I know it can be really intimidating, like all of the colleges that are out there, but it was also the college prep program with SCGA really helped me my options, and I was always focused on like the big schools as well, but I didn't know that like Division 3 would be the best fit for me to play. So I definitely think just like finding the best fit for you and where you'll be happiest playing. And also just remember to have fun when you're on the golf course, because golf is such an amazing sport and you can meet so many people. So just cherish your time on the course and don't worry so much about your scores.
Yeah, I think both Stephanie and Dana said everything that I just want to second everything that they said. It's about finding where your home will be for the next 4 years. And that doesn't mean where your parents want you to be. I know expectations can be put on you, especially in high school and gearing up for college, but you're going to be living there. You're going to be studying there. This is like setting your path for the future, and you want to make sure that it's the right fit for you. So making sure you check I think what helps is checking what schools offer majors that you're interested in, knowing exactly location-wise, do you want to stay close to home? Do you want to move a little bit further out? Just knowing those in advance and just always staying true to yourself and like what you know deep down you want for yourself, because this is for your future. I think that's always a good reminder, and something that I always try to remind myself is what do I want for myself and what do I want for my future? So.
I definitely think visiting the schools and spending time with the students and teammates, if possible, depending on NCAA regulations and the coach, is really important just to get the feel for the school, feel for the people you're going to be living with, spending most of your time with on the golf team. You want to like love these people are your family, but the coaches want to hear from you. It's not a one-way street of you searching from them. They are welcoming communication, whether the NCAA rules allow them to or not. So it's not a scary thing. They want to support you and they hope you can be on their team.
So I'll just keep my answer really quick since we're running out of time, but I think the main thing is to always have lots of options to choose from and just trying to find like what exactly you're interested in, and from then just narrow down that list to a couple schools and just start visiting and contacting as soon as possible and try to keep that relationship from the start.
Before we wrap up, I just want to pass it to Jen real quick, since we did have so many shout outs for our college prep program, just to touch on.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. And I just want to say, this whole process seems really daunting and intimidating, but all of us who are here from SCGA Junior tonight are willing to help. You can reach out to Coach T, to Lauren. You can reach out directly to me about all of this stuff. If we don't have an answer, we can help find the answer for you, connect you with other scholars in our program. If there's schools that you might want to attend, we can directly connect you to those scholars. But I just want to say, like, if you want to play college golf, there is a spot for you. There is a place you can play. All of these girls who spoke tonight really did their homework, and they're having such great experiences in college because they found their best fit school. They were realistic about their playing ability, where they could play, and they've all had a great time in college and are able to compete at that next level. As Lauren mentioned, we do have a college prep program. We typically host it every summer. We have transitioned it into a virtual environment given COVID restrictions currently. So we hope to have another 4-week session sometime next year, but check out our monthly club newsletters because that's where we'll make that announcement. And lastly, all of our panelists were part of our college scholarship program. College is expensive. Full rides to play college golf are few and far between. So if you're D1 or D2, you might get a partial scholarship. D3, there is no athletic scholarship. So I highly encourage all of you to stay involved with our programs. You're eligible to apply your senior year of high school, and then it is a renewable scholarship for up to 4 years. So just know that we're here for a resource, both to help you on your path to college and then while you're in college as well.